Hey, look at us here live. We got the whole system set up, everyone. We got the Jenga tower. We have our spinning surface. We have the mirror. And crippling anxiety. Crippling anxiety is always here. Jazz hands. All right, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start off with my left hand in the quest of neuroplasticity, in the quest of neural resilience. I'm going to be building my block tower with my left hand. So I bet you're asking me right now, gosh, Andy, I wonder if you've had any kind of horrendous news in the last hour or two. Well, yeah, I have had some horrendous news in the last hour or two, but like a trooper, I'm doing well with it, and I'm certainly not drinking or panicking or anything like that. I'm going and working the system that I'm working in. I can't even talk to you about what I'm not panicking about right now because it's a legal issue. It's not me. I'm not in trouble or anything like that. No one's suing me, but it's something I cannot talk about. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to build blocks and achieve a whole level of Zen here. That's what I'm going to do. And maybe I should just do a whole Zen channel, a health channel, a channel all about being the healthiest person. I'll use this voice too. Hello, my name is Andy. Do you have issues? I have issues too. Let's talk about them. As I'm doing Jenga Tower. And that would be my entire shtick for the channel. Kind and gentle. I have to work on my NPR voice. Kind and gentle Jenga hour. Talk about your problems. I'll talk about my problems. And we can share problems in this marketplace of problems. See, the thing is, it's difficult for me not to slide into comedy, not to be funny, or at least not and to try to be funny. And no more promises. Yeah, I'm going to spin my tower. This is what the Tower of Babel really needed. Right? Now, this is what we all need. We need a spinning tower for us to visualize our problems, our goals, our issues. And that's why I have a spinning surface here for my Jenga tower, so I can observe exactly what's going on here. And to contemplate the way of Jenga, the way of the blocks. The building up of the tower. It's lazy Andy. Oh, it's not a lazy Andy. It's I'm using my NPR voice right now, God equals. I'm thinking about rebranding the channel. I'm thinking about rebranding it as being your best self channel, as achieving the personal Zen that you've always wanted to be. And I'm going to talk like this, tons of mice. It's Ted Cruz suing you for, you know, I wish it was as simple as that, tons of mice, because then I could talk about it maybe. But yeah, yeah. Am I in? Yeah. This stuff my newest source of anxiety is something I cannot legally talk to you all about, at least for a couple of months. But I just got the news. I just got the news too. And I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to center myself, use my NPR voice, not drink, And I'm going to build up my little tower here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be working on my NPR voice, building up blocks. And then I'm going to tell myself, you know, Andy, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Things are going to be fine. You've been in bigger messes before. Much bigger messes. See, that's the good thing about being older, isn't it? When you're in trouble now, you can look back on your life and say, hey, I've been in a lot more trouble than this, and I've gotten out fine. Right? Sure. I got fork stabbed, tons of mice. What's up, James Henry? I'm using my NPR voice right now. I have been fork stabbed, tons of mice. You're right about that. I can only try to use one voice at a time. I'm trying to perfect my deeper, velvety voice as against my high, nasally voice that I usually use. Maybe this is the voice I'm going to use whenever I try to not panic and to get some perspective. You know what I'm doing right now by doing Jenga? I'm perspectivizing. That's a new word I made up, perspectivizing. When you get to look at good trouble is great. This isn't good trouble. This is just trouble. This is just trouble. It's manageable trouble. And you can tell by how much trouble it is, by how calm I sound. There's a relationship to the amount of trouble I'm in how calm my voice is. Yeah, I got some bad news. I got to keep up my voice. I got some bad news about an hour and a half ago. Like a life transition, kind of. Like a transition. Just as blocks here in Jenga, it's about transition. I have to rearrange some blocks to make a better tower. Yeah, James Henry. Yeah. Believe me, when I will be able to talk to you about this in a few months, we'll all have a laugh at it, probably. But that'll be in a few months. And until then, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But right now, I think using this voice and doing Jenga is the right way to go. I have not checked out the Skylar fiction show, and I will immediately after I'm done with this imaginary god. I won't do it now because I'm doing this Jenga tower, building up. See, that was cheating. I can't cheat. But that isn't cheating. That works fine. Now, oh, look at this. But then the tower would suffer, imaginary god. The tower would suffer. I talked with my sister. It's funny how life happens. It's funny how life happens. I got the bad news. And actually, this is how I can tell you how it occurred, though I cannot tell you what occurred. I can tell you that I got a message saying, hey, I'm going to be sending you a message. It's like, really? I'm getting a message about a message? I don't think that message is going to be very good. I don't think message number 2 is going to be good. And it wasn't. And no more problem. I sing when I'm anxious. I've been singing. I'm going to sing a lot today. Chicken curry. I had some curry-ish stuff last night. Stuff from the subcontinent. My girlfriend made it. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it was tasty. I like naan. Naan? I think it's naan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Everything is everything is wobbly. Everything is wobbly. Ah, it's about to fall. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I can't tell you who sent the message either. I can't tell you who sent the message. No. Unfortunately, I've been sworn to legal secrecy. But like I said, in a couple of months, it'll all be evident, and I'll be on the other side of whatever this is. I'm going to be I'm not. Yeah. Well, James Henry, if my disappointments defined me, I would be non-functional. I think I would be non-functional, but I am at least semi-functional. So, and that's what I shoot for. Mostly functional. Avoid functional obsolescence. Wise words, imaginary God. Wise words. I think this tower is about to hit its functional obsolescence very quickly. Why, thank you, James Henry. Why, thank you. I am just muddling through. That's what I'm doing. And I think that's all any of us do, really, is just muddle through. Some of us have better plans than others, but ultimately, it's muddling. Thanks, James Henry. I appreciate it. And I do. You know, I do appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. And, you know, whatever's going to happen, I remind myself that a lot of people have it worse off than I do. That's for sure. So that helps me stay focused, and it keeps me centered. And that's just being serious. There. First tower down after 15 minutes. Ugh. Ugh. Right. Now comes the most exciting part of the show. Me collecting the blocks. I know that's what you're all tuned in here for. Live show magic. All right, done. Words and no more. All right. Yep, it is a, yeah, it's just, yeah. Oh, you're thinking about doing a YouTube channel? Well, that wouldn't be bad. You have an interesting perspective on things, James Henry. And if nothing else, YouTube allows you to connect with some pretty awesome people from all around the world. So it is definitely something, it all depends on what you want to get out of it. If you want to get something, emotionally satisfying, then YouTube, like any other kind of art form, then it can be very satisfying. Da, 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 da. All right, so I'm gonna get my head out of my butt, because even when things have gone badly for me, it usually takes me just a short period of time to actually pull my head out of my butt. And like I said, you all just happen to see me in the initial stages of, oh, what am I gonna do? And so now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I have pretty good confidence in that, and move on. Not interested in the money. That's good. That's good. That's what I tell people who go into, most art forms. If you're entertainment, if you're or YouTube, comedy. If you're doing this for the money, I don't think you're in it for the right reason. If you're just doing this kind of thing to make cash, then you probably won't do well. All right, so I'm using my right hand, obviously. I'm doing my right hand. So just as many of you, as you guys know, right, I've been reading through Sanjay Gupta's book, Staying Sharp, how to stay emotionally, keeping your brain healthy as you get older, right? And one of the recommendations he makes, or he suggests, is to learn a second language. Now, I know many of you here, whatever happened to Chris Mallard? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. What's curious about that God is imaginary God is that the people I work with, I typically stay in contact with, like Jack Materko, what I do the late night show with. I've known Jack since I was married, like 8 years ago. And Jack and I haven't always worked together. There's been times that we have worked together, and then there are times we haven't worked together. But we've always stayed friends. But with Chris, he just kind of disappeared. Yeah, the Sanjay Gupta is the CNN doctor. So, I was on Paul Kamish's birthday feed, and I saw Chris for like the first time in months at this point. But then he just kind of, I'm sure he's busy. I'm sure Chris is busy. We're all busy. And I should shoot him a message and see what he's up to. Pig Latin, I'm actually learning. Well, I downloaded an app. It's a free app on my phone. It's called Duolingo. Duolingo? And so Duolingo, it's a free app. And so for about 20 minutes a day, I get to practice speaking Spanish or not speaking Spanish or learning Spanish. I'm learning Spanish. That's what it is. And so that is part of Sanjay Gupta's 12-week plan of brain health, of getting your brain active, get to optimal brain health. And so I just started the language learning app 2 days ago, and it seems very easy to understand. Yeah, I know you can understand 5 European languages. Yeah. That is impressive, I have to tell you. That is impressive. And so I am, like I said, I'm playing around with Spanish right now. My kid is taking Spanish in high school, and so I'm hoping that we can get into some conversations in Spanish so she can help me learn the language. Oh, Tubin, huh? That's the guy with the phallus in the pants problem, imaginary god, isn't it? Right? He had his private section out. He had his Netherlands out, so to speak, during a Zoom call. Got himself into trouble. Well, that's wise, James Henry. Communicating with as many cultures, diverse people as possible. Yeah, I think one of the things I'm going to do is I got to make a legitimate list of people I want to have on the channel and reach out to them, and so I can be a little bit more proactive. You know, it's difficult being a one person operation. You know, hey Theo, how you doing? It's difficult being a one person operation, and but yeah, I gotta get on more people coming on as guests. This is true. You know, I don't consider, you know, in terms of the YouTube and blogging, the morning show, you know, I put time into that every day, you know, when I do the show. And I don't consider that work. That is fun for me. That is fun finding the news articles. It is fun talking to everyone. And I learn stuff too. I learn just from going through the news pieces myself and talking with you all. I find it quite satisfying, and I don't see it as work. Nah, took Spanish in high school and then college. No hablo español. Yep. You're masticating right now. That sounds like a. I'm surprised the comment didn't get banned or didn't get taken down. You and your masticating. You know, dude, you know, James Henry, I gotta tell you, I am not interested in talking to Darth Dawkins or Smokey Saint. I always, and I understand why other people do, don't get me wrong, but I wanna put on, you know, of the time and of my energy, I wanna have smart people coming on the channel where I get to learn things. And that's where I really wanna spend my time and my energy. And like I've said before about Smokey Saint and Darth, they just seem to be these figures that people just beat up on, which they're beat upable. Don't get me wrong. You know, they seem like very beat upable people, but I have no desire to do that. Brian Bowden. What did happen to Mallard? Well, Chris, you know, he did the channel for a year, and he decided that it wasn't worth it. It was just too much work, and which it is, you know, doing, you know, cranking out a show Monday through Friday, it's a lot. And he decided to move on to something else, Brian. And so that's when I decided, you know, I was doing the time slot anyway with Chris, And I thought, well, I'll just keep doing the show. I'll change it around a bit because I wanted to have a more, organized show. And which, I'm happy with the transition from going from the Daily Atheist morning show to whatever I'm doing in the morning. I guess I'm calling it the Disappointed Cat morning show, which I think is hilarious. So I'm happy with the transition, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't like that either, James Henry. And to tell you the truth, the people who I want to hang with, and just not. And in some ways, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, I feel, I'm going to say, I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm not going to speak anymore about them. What I am going to say is that I want to elevate conversations, right? I want to either make people laugh or I want to elevate the conversation. Those are the things I want to do. Chris was canceled by Tons of Mice. Well, how about that? Yeah, I mean, YouTube, it's a slog. Any kind of art form. And I think I mentioned this last night. People, it's work, even when you're enjoying it. I mean, if you're doing creative work all the time, then your brain is on, and it's difficult not to be on. You talk to a lot of people in relationships with comedians, and that's the common denominator, is that the comedian is typically on all the time. Difficult to shut off. It's difficult to shut off the humor. That's not going to work. Here we go. And what really helped me with doing YouTube is doing the blog for so many years. I did the blog for Laughing in Disbelief on Pathios. I've done that for years. And so it got me into the habit of just doing the grind of work, the creative work day after day. Imaginary God. Prenups are hilarious. Presuppositional. All right, presuppositional arguments are an admission of the burden of proof cannot be met. Yeah, it is. Oh, did you go through all the gossip already about Meghan and Markle? Believe it or not, Theo, I usually try to avoid royal conversations, but I was looking through my news feed, and because the conversation about the royals seems to be a lot, or at least a good portion of it has to do about race. Excuse me, about race. That has gotten me interested in what the story is. So now I'm actually going to dive into it, and it has gotten to the limit. It has gotten up. It has raised. It has risen to the point that I'm now curious about the whole fiasco that's going on. Precepts, I got you. Imaginary God. Wow, I just spun that really fast. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't think so. The Royals can suck onions as far as I'm concerned. Very nice, James Harry. Yeah, sucking onions. You know, though, and that's typically my response to James Henry. What has attracted me to the story is, like I said, the intersection of the royalty and race. I'm curious about how that played out with Meghan Markle. And of course, there's also the other aspect of the whole story, which is about, British tabloids. And British tabloids, it seems to me from this side of the pond, so to speak, that the tabloids over there have been a toxic influence, on the culture. It's drama for Queen Elizabeth. She's a good representative for the whole rest is awful. Yeah. If I was Queen Elizabeth, I would put down the English crown and say it's over. You all don't deserve it, especially not you, Prince Charles. Yeah, I haven't heard anything good about Prince Charles, to tell you the truth. I haven't heard anything good about him. And it is insane that monarchs are still a thing, true enough. How old is Queen Elizabeth now? I know that she was around during the Blitz, right? So she has to be in her 80s at this point. Meghan knew that what she was getting into, and Harry knew that a brown wife never be accepted. Now, here's the interesting question. The idea of someone who's brown skinned wouldn't be accepted as a royal. That would only be for part. I mean, it sounds like a very culture, like the United States of America has its culture wars. So what I'm hearing is that the royal family and Markle, right, for being brown skinned, that was pretty much their culture war. That was a facet of their culture war. They both should have known how the people would be at court. It's terrible on every court, the gospel of racism, classism, yeah, theoretically, indeed. Well, you also wouldn't want, I mean, speaking as a parent, I know one thing. If, I wouldn't want my children to be brought up in a oh. Well, that didn't work out well, did it? That did not work out well at all. But like I was saying, if the idea about Henry and Markle bringing up their children in an environment like in the House Royale, where the kids would be scrutinized and treated poorly because they are brown skinned, I think that would have been intolerable for me. I don't think I would have been I wouldn't have allowed it. I wouldn't have allowed it. And coming to the States here, probably their best bet. Or to tell you the truth, I would have gone to Canada or some other country than here in the States. But they have a lot of money, so they'll be able to protect their kids. So that was 2 towers already. I don't think I have a third tower in me, to tell you the truth. I gotta, I don't want to say I'm still in the red zone, but I got to do some stuff. I gotta do some thinking, and I have to prepare stuff. Lady Di, who's in actual English nobility, had already had a hard time for not being noble enough. Yeah, I don't understand that either. Not really fitting the mold, I would imagine. That was the problem, theoretically. Yeah. It's I don't know. I just wish him the best of luck, and probably getting out of that situation was the best. I'm going to listen, or I'm going to watch the entire Oprah interview and see what I think about it. I want to see coming from the eyes of a citizen of the United States with some sense of history. I'm curious about how what my reaction to it is. Because right now I'm just spitballing about stuff that I've heard and what you all are saying right now about the Henry and his wife. So that's it, everyone. That's it, right? I'll be doing this show tomorrow at 3 o'clock here, the Jenga, and I'll be doing the 9 o'clock show, of course, tomorrow, the morning show, 9 a.m. Eastern time. James Henry, you're not going to watch it? Don't worry, brother. I'll watch it for you and see if there's anything worth mining out of it for material, right? I've read and listened to enough of the way the aristocracy talked about the common man in English to make me puke. Well, I always think of that bit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right? About the Sindo Communist Collective and the violence inherent in the system. That section always spoke to me, actually. I'll keep you posted. All right, everyone. So I will see you tomorrow morning. If you're around tomorrow morning, if you're not around tomorrow morning, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. If not, then I'll see you around. Take care, everyone. Be strong.